For the longest time, the firewall has been this sort of silent, dutiful gatekeeper for our entire digital world. But the threats we're facing now? They've gotten way faster, a whole lot smarter, and just sneakier. So how in the world does our defense keep up? Let's get into how artificial intelligence is basically giving the humble firewall a total upgrade, turning it into an intelligent, immune system for your network.
Let me ask you something. Is your company's security guard still working off a paper list of known troublemakers? Because when you think about it, in the digital world, that's pretty much exactly what most old-school firewalls are doing. And today's intruders? Oh, they are absolute masters of disguise, using attacks that nobody has ever seen before.
All right, so to really get our heads around this, we're going to use a simple analogy for this whole explainer. I want you to imagine your network is your home. For years, your security was just a fence, a basic perimeter. But that is just not going to cut it anymore. What you really need now is an intelligent guardian, one that doesn't just check a list, but actually understands the normal rhythm of your home.
And this gets us to our first really critical point. That old way of doing things, that digital fence, it's broken. It's fundamentally broken. The old rules just can't keep up with the kinds of threats that are out there today.
Okay, check out the difference here. It's night and day. The old guard, that's your traditional firewall. It's totally reactive. It's just checking things against a static list of known bad guys. If a threat isn't on that specific list, it gets a free pass right on through. But the new Guardian, the one powered by AI, it's proactive. It spends its time learning what normal looks and feels like for your network, and it flags anything that seems a little bit off, even if it's a brand new threat nobody's ever seen.
And this is exactly why that change is so important. These modern threats, they're designed specifically to just hop right over that old fence. We're talking about massive DDoS attacks that just flood your system, zero-day exploits, and that means vulnerabilities that even the people who made the software don't know exist yet. And this crazy stuff called polymorphic malware, which literally rewrites its own code to avoid getting caught. A simple checklist has absolutely no chance.
But this jump from static lists to active learning, it didn't just happen overnight. It's been an evolution. Firewalls have been getting smarter for years, and AI is really the next logical and by far the most powerful step in that journey.
You can actually see the progress right here. We started way back with stateless firewalls, the original bouncers, just checking IDs at the door. Then came stateful firewalls, which were more like inspectors, watching the entire conversation. Next-gen firewalls got even smarter, like investigators, actually looking inside the data. But this fourth generation, the AI-powered one, well, that's the real brain of the operation, learning and adapting on the fly.
And this slide just perfectly sums up the massive shift in strategy. We are moving from a defense that's reactive and static, and let's be honest, totally vulnerable to new attacks, to one that is proactive, adaptive, and way more resilient. It's the difference between waiting for a burglar to match a photo in your book and noticing someone is quietly jiggling all your window locks at 3 in the morning. Which one would you rather have?
So how does this AI Guardian actually pull it off? How does it learn to tell the difference between a friend just dropping by and a foe wearing a really, really good disguise? Now, this quote might sound a little academic, but it is the absolute heart of the matter. This is the whole paradigm shift. Instead of a simple yes or no based on a signature, AI uses a probabilistic model. It's asking, based on everything I've ever seen, how likely is it that this behavior is legit? That question changes the entire game.
It all happens in 3 key steps. First, the AI builds a baseline. It creates this super detailed mathematical model of what normal looks like on your specific network. Second, it watches absolutely everything in real time, constantly looking for any deviation, any little anomaly. And finally, and this part is so crucial, it can respond all by itself, autonomously, intercepting and quarantining a potential threat in milliseconds, often before a human even gets an alert.
Now, of course, attackers are clever. They know that to hide from security, you have to travel in the dark. And today, that darkness is encrypted traffic. It's the perfect place for them to hide their malware and their commands.
The old way of dealing with this was, well, it was a mess. It's called SSL decryption, and it basically means breaking open all the traffic to look inside. It absolutely kills network performance and, you can imagine, creates some serious privacy risks. But the AI way is so much more elegant. It uses something called encrypted traffic analysis, which can spot threats without decrypting anything. It just analyzes patterns in the metadata, like the size, the timing, the destination of data packets, and it can spot the telltale signs of bad stuff happening. all while keeping your performance high and your data private.
So what happens if you decide to just stick with that old, broken fence? Well, this isn't just some tech problem for the IT department anymore. It's a huge business problem with very real-world and very expensive consequences. Sticking with old-school security hits your bottom line, period. It means slow networks, and that slows down productivity. It creates bandwidth bottlenecks that frustrate everyone. And most importantly, every single one of these vulnerabilities is a direct threat to keeping your business running. The cost of just one major breach can be astronomically higher than the investment in a modern defense.
But hold on, here's the plot twist. The good guys aren't the only ones who have AI. We are now in a full-blown cyber arms race, and you better believe the attackers are using AI to build even more sophisticated threats.
It's a field known as adversarial AI, and it's basically the practice of using one AI to find the blind spots and weaknesses in another AI. You're building an AI specifically to craft an attack that looks completely normal and benign, fooling the defensive AI into letting it walk right in the front door.
Let's go back to our home security analogy one last time. This is like an intruder using AI to create a perfect digital disguise. Think of it like a deepfake that fools your smart security system into thinking they live there. They don't have to break the door down. They get invited right in. And that is exactly why your defense can't be static. In this new arms race, your guardian has to be learning and adapting even faster than the attackers can create new disguises.
So, this escalating arms race, it leads us to a final, pretty profound shift in how we think about security. If you can't trust what's coming from the outside, and now you can't even trust what looks benign on the inside, what's left to do? The answer is to build a zero-trust fortress.
Okay, so this diagram from the National Institute of Standards and Technology, or NIST, it looks a little complicated, I get it. But the philosophy behind it is actually incredibly simple and powerful. Never trust, always verify. It doesn't matter if a request is coming from outside the network or from the computer right next to the server. Every single request to access anything has to be fully authenticated and authorized, every single time.
I'm going to say that again, because this is probably the most important takeaway for modern security. Assume your perimeter is already breached. Just assume the bad guys are already inside. Forget about this old idea of a safe internal network. Instead, you build tiny little perimeters around your most important data and your most critical applications, enforcing security at every single step.
So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with a question to think about. In this new era of AI-powered attackers and perimeters that are basically vanishing, is your network's defense just a static wall that's waiting for someone to climb over it? Or is it what it really needs to be today? An intelligent, adaptive immune system that can learn, predict, and protect you from the inside out?